Welcome to another video. It's been a minute, but I'm currently 3 weeks out from my next powerlifting competition, and today I'm building up to some heavy singles, so about an 8.5 RPE. So ideally these are going to be my openers. So I thought I'd bring you guys along for the session. I've got some heavy squats, heavy bench press. As I said, try and find my openers for 3 weeks time, 19 days to be precise, and kind of also give you a bit of an update on how things are going, how the year started, how my current enhanced training's going, and yeah, just kind of take you through this session. So without further ado, let's get into it. So let's get into some squats. Doesn't matter if I'm warming up with an empty bar or I'm performing my max set. I try to execute all my reps the same. So a really common error that I see when people train is warm-up sets not looking like main sets. Now, I'm not saying you have to brace like you're about to lift your max weight, but you want everything else to be the same. You're thinking about the setup, how you hold the bar, your walkout, your foot placement, how you lower down. All these sort of things are adding reps and reps into the tank so that when you get to your main set and your heavy sets, it's just another rep, it's just heavier. So today's goal is I'd like a 230, 235, I'd say, squat, that'd be great. And bench press, well, bench press has been feeling pretty heavy. So I hit a 145 last week for a double, a very ropey double. So hopefully a 147 to 150 today would be fantastic, but don't know if that'll be an 8.5 RP, but so stay tuned and we'll see about that. But let's get into the back squats. So something I make sure I do is my warm-ups are all the same and I put on my kit at the same time. So 70 kilos is my first set, say, and I got my knee sleeves on. Then after that, at 120 kilos, I'll put on my wrist wraps, and I have certain times where I put on certain bits of kit when I change over to wraps. So let's go for a set of 5 here. Done. At 120, I put my wrist wraps on. Gonna go for a set, 3 to 5 reps. Easy enough. Whenever I get to this stage in prep, my right shoulder, something to do with the trap, always gets jammed up. I think it's because my grip is a little too tight on the bar, but I just don't feel stable a bit wider, but I think I have got to go a bit wider on the warm-ups. So 150, my last set without a belt. Yeah, a bit wider, does feel better on the trap. Just doesn't feel as stable on the back. I'm gonna save that tighter grip for the later sets, the top single really. Right, on goes the belt, 170. So belt on, 170, fast single, let's go. Felt good, felt better on the trap. It just feels so unstable on my back. But it is what it is. Gotta do what you gotta do. This trap pain can't lift a plate up. So if I'm holding a plate, I can't put a plate on the bar without kind of getting underneath and kind of hooking it into place. It's wild. I just have no idea what it is. Right, so like this, that's it there. So I've held it there. Oh, I can pick it up with my left. So 200 for a single. Then after this single, I'll do one more in knee sleeves, which will hopefully be 220. And then I'll move over to wraps, because that is what I'm competing in. Right, so just like all the other bits of kit, 200 kilos, the chalk comes out on the back. Why do you chalk your back? Well, it really helps that bar stick nicely onto your back. So, heavy single. So, 220 kilos, last set in the knee sleeves. What I'm going to do is bring my grip in, and hopefully that should help me feel a little bit more stable. Yes, it will obviously impact my bench press, but it is what it is. So 2, maybe 3 more sets left. This will be, I'll go 220, see how that feels, then hopefully 230 in wraps. Then I guess it's kind of see what to do from there. I do want this to be an 8.5 RPE, so I do want to try and be quite honest with that. So I'm gonna just have to review the footage and kind of base it on kind of what it looks like as a coach rather than kind of how it feels, because generally, if it's not feeling good, it'll probably feel worse than it actually is. So it's really important to film your lifts and have your observation of how it feels and kind of see if they match up. If they are a bit different, then you kind of have to make a call, which one do you want to look at? Your bar speed based on the footage or based on how you feel. We'll see how this 220 goes and then make some decisions from there. Right, come on. That's what we want. So a nice heavy single there in sleeves. Now I'm gonna get the wraps involved and kind of add on a little bit extra weight. But I'm really pumped with how that moved. That moved fast for how I'm feeling. So fantastic. Let's get 230 on the bar and see what happens. Right, so let's get the wraps set up. Not the biggest fan of the wraps, to be honest with you. It's just such an ag putting them on and stuff like that. I think because I haven't been using them for a long time, this is the first, so this 12-week cycle is the first time I've actually given them a proper go. And I could probably get stiffer wraps to help me as well. But I don't really feel that they give me the assistance I feel they should. Well, they probably do, but I just really like knee sleeves. And this is just an ag. Just trying to make sure you're nice and consistent with the wrapping. Make sure you're tight enough, but not too tight. It's just too many things that can go wrong. Oh, fuck you. This one's not as good as that one. All right, anyway, enough chit chat. Time to squat. Oh, let's position you there. Yes! Woo! Decent. So that, I don't think was an 8.5 RP, if I'm honest. That's not me ego lifting. That's me just watching the footage back and seeing it's not really an 8.5. So I do need to go up. Oh, well. Now we'll say, so I went 240. So I've got 240 on the bar now. Oh, singlet is up. So all official. Now I've got to wrap my knees and get myself set. This will be my top set. Even if this was under an 8.5 RPE, I haven't been this heavy in a while. So it'll be smart for me to stop here as my last heavy single for the day. Woo! Goddamn. All right, so 240 went up, probably a little bit of an overshoot, not gonna lie. Probably should have done 235. I think that would have been just sweet. 230 was, I feel, an RP8, so 235 should have been the call. But Billy Big Balls here ended up throwing on 2 5s rather than a 2.5. And yeah, probably overshot that a little bit. But I'd say we'd learn, but I still don't learn after all these years. So now we're on to bench press. But while I'm going through my bench press warm up and stuff like that, I want to just break down how this prep's been going, because it's not been the best, not gonna lie. So this prep hasn't really been ideal. I've been bed bound for 5 days, had a really bad flu for 4 days, and obviously, as I've been transitioning onto TRT, things have not been as smooth as I'd hoped. Now, obviously, I didn't expect to be massively stronger jumping on TRT with the levels that I'm taking, but I did have this kind of like hope. I was like, maybe I'm gonna get quite a bit stronger. Now, I'm probably on par with where I was 2 years ago, or slightly below, because I feel like the speed the bars were moving back about 2 years ago were a lot better than they are now. But I'm happy with how things are going. Squats are going probably the best out of all of them. We'll have to see how deadlifts go on Friday. Today's Monday when I'm filming this. So we'll see how that goes. So I've been on TRT now for 9 weeks. 2 of those weeks I actually didn't take it. Well, probably say 10 days because I was bed bound and I couldn't inject. I was fucked. And then the other one, I was just so run down, I completely forgot, to be honest with you. That's that thing. I'm still kind of finding my rhythm, like twice a week injections and kind of getting used to it. But yeah, I mean, I can't lie. Performance has definitely been okay. It's been good, but it's not loads better than me naturally 2 years ago. We'll see how bench goes today. The goal here is hopefully I want to hit about a 145 again or a 150. So we'll see. Last week's 145 for a double. The second rep was pretty slow. So I'd say the first rep was probably an 8.5. So that's why this week I might even just hit the 145 again. We'll see. I'll try and be quite honest with this because my right shoulder is a bit like janked up after those squats. Enough chain, let's go. So 120, I'm putting a belt on mainly because I know in nearly every competition that I've done before this, I always nearly cramp up after my last squat, probably because I push a little bit too heavy. So I always cramp in my left side lower back. So I know when I wear a belt, it kind of helps put that pressure into it. So wearing a belt when you bench press is a skill in itself. It's not just put a belt on and see. So I like to train like how I'm going to compete. Hence why singlets on, the belt's on, everything's kind of ready for game day itself. So 120, let's go. Nice. This one will tell me where my next jump will be. It'll either be 145 or 150. So fingers crossed, this one flies up. Yes, that's a 150. 150, let's go. I want this to be my opener. I've got to make it fast, got to make it smooth. That was neither fast or smooth. The bar path kicked away from me there, so rather than it kind of pushing up and towards my face again, I pushed up and I let the bar drift slightly away. So maybe it's a 145 opener. So looks like I've overshot myself both with 5 kilos too heavy. Sounds about right. So in summary, I think today has gone, it's gone all right. I'm happy with how it's went. I've admittedly overshot both my squats and my bench by about 5 kilos, but it's given me a good indication of what I want my opener to be. So I'm probably gonna have my opener to be 235 on the squat and 145 on the bench. See, that 150 misgrooved. So I've got some back offsets now to do at 135, a couple of doubles there. So really grease that groove and kind of make up for that poor effort that I did just there. So I would love to thank you for tuning in today. Hopefully you got a little bit of an insight into how things have been going. 3 weeks out, my squat and my bench, how TRT's been going. Do look out for my next TRT video coming probably next week. I do want to get back to my once a week YouTube uploads. So hold me to that. Comment down below if I'm not holding myself to the standards that I want to hold myself to. I work well with external accountability, just like everyone who has a coach. Having someone to lean on when you're kind of slipping helps you kind of keep your standards up. So thanks a lot for watching, really appreciate you, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video.